Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're there.
Hello?
Can you hear me? No? Hold on. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold
Yeah.
on. You there? Should
There
be
it
hearing.
goes.
Yeah, I was going to say you should be hearing me.
Yep. There it
Alright.
goes.
Alright, so we got both audio on here now. Cool. Yeah, I didn't know if we were going to do video or just have you on voice. I figured we'd just voice.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
Alright. Alright. So that part's working now. It says we got 3 people in the room, but you're the only one that said anything. Oop, I just jumped up there.
Yep.
Yeah. So, what's going on? You guys have a good Christmas?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. Whoops. What are we doing here? Still going, isn't it? Yeah. You still there? Ah, crap. I don't think it is. Yeah.
We got all the boys' TVs set up, their new gaming systems and everything, so.
Nice. Good. That's awesome.
Yeah, they're loving it.
Yeah.
Loving it. So, and then I got that little tractor, that little Power Wheels tractor.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which, let me tell you, it's a pain in the butt to put together.
Oh, I bet it is. I bet it was.
Is I figured it was going to be kind of small because it was in a smaller box. No, it was just in a million pieces, all tightly compacted together. So.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you are on. We are live. Everything's working. We got 4 people in the room. Woohoo! Actually, I think we're back down to 3 now, but it's like whoever's out there, if you want to ask us some questions. Anyway, I know we were talking a little bit the other day about, you were interviewing some guys, and these guys really aren't ready to answer questions when they're getting an interview.
Yeah. It's crazy. We have these kids coming up out of like the ASAP program. It's Sinclair here locally, or other tech schools, and that's one thing that they don't teach them is how to go into an interview.
Yeah, I know. We were doing that virtual interview at Hobart with Hunter, and the lady said, we actually have a class to get them ready for interviews. I'm like, great, because obviously in college they're not teaching them how to interview,
Right.
It's scary. And like I said, I sat in on some
It's
interviews.
crazy.
I sat in on some interviews and at my work, and I mean, these guys just come in and, you don't have to dress super duper nice because, yeah, we're working in a garage, but still it's like,
Right.
at least comb your hair and...
Yeah, don't come show exactly. Don't show up in board shorts and a ripped up t-shirt.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's...
put on some nice jeans and like a collared shirt.
Yeah. Put on some deodorant.
And then, right.
Bring a pen and paper. Yeah, it's man, it is though. It's scary.
That's things that are simple things that you can do when you're showing up to an interview. Show up with a pen and paper. It shows that you're ready, and take notes while you're there.
Yep.
Come prepared with some questions. Nobody wants to have an interview with you and then ask you a bunch of questions, and then they go, okay, well, you got anything for me? And you're like, nope.
Yeah. It's like you need to have a list of questions. Yeah. Even if the interviewers went over it, ask the same question again. All they're going to say is, "Oh, well, we went over that, but we can go over that again."
Exactly.
Gosh, I just think.
At least show some interest.
Yeah. they think they just show up for the interview, they got the job. It's like, yeah, it doesn't really work like that. So, but yeah, and it's like there's that part of it, and then they've got their certifications and everything, but it's like I don't think they're letting them work out in the shop very much. I think they're just
they don't. seem to have any experience.
Right.
They know it all on paper, but you know, I've known guys that were certified master techs through ASE,
Oh yeah.
and then you get them into a shop and they're asking you questions, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
are you serious?
Yeah. I've got
You
two.
know?
I've got two guys at my work that have been there for 20 some odd years, and they don't know how to check an alternator still. I'm like, what were you guys doing? You know.
Yeah.
And they're certified to work on big trucks. I'm like, come on, man.
Right.
You know. So yeah, we got to get them.
Yeah. I asked a guy the other day to do a parasitic drawl test, and he just looked at me like I was stupid. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the.
You have a multimeter?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
No, I've never needed one. I'm like, what do you mean?
You gotta
I
have
need a
one.
multimeter like almost every day.
Every day, absolutely
So-
every day. Yeah, that's what I said earlier. I'm gonna do some videos on amp draw, parastatic draw, 3 different ways I'm gonna show how to do it. Of course, they all entail using a voltometer, and you don't have to have a fancy one. I mean, you could have an El Cheapo one. All it's got to do is measure amps, and resistance, and ohms and resistance.
No, I
amps.
had one from Harbor Freight that I used all the way up till, I don't know, middle of last year when I finally got one on sale from Mac. But,
Yeah.
I mean,
Man, I've got an
all you
old.
gotta do is tell you your voltage.
Yeah, I've got like an old Fluke. It's either a 73 or 78, and I mean, I know it's older than you. That thing. They don't even make them anymore. But then I have some El Cheapo ones here at the house. I can do the same test with them. There's no big
Right.
deal. You don't have to have the real fancy stuff. I mean, the tool truck guys are going to want to sell you the fancy stuff, but you absolutely do not have to have that. And but yeah, I'm going to go over that.
I mean, even like normal hand tools, these kids coming straight out of school thinking that they gotta go 30 grand in debt.
Yeah. No.
It's not necessary.
Nope.
Hell, like Terry, T, he was my hero, man. He had a little box full of Craftsman tools, and he got the job done
Yep.
every day.
And, to this day, he still has a small toolbox. He has a lot of specialty tools that he needs to use. Like, he bought my smoke machine for doing evap tests because I don't need one because we've got like 4 of them at work now. And, those things are $1,000. But yeah,
Right.
you don't need all that stuff. That's like I did the one video about where I would start, and I seriously think if I had to do it all over again, I would start in a dealership and work in there for a year, because you're gonna get all the factory training. You don't have to buy any tools because they have everything there you need. When you're doing a job, it says go get tool J1234. You just go get that tool. And every year,
Right.
when the new service manual comes out, there's an updated set of tools that comes to the dealership just for that reason. And because
Yeah.
man, there's just they're well, I mean, the industry period is dying for techs. Good ones. I mean, but we can make them good, but we just got to have them pay attention and be prepared. And I don't want to talk about schools, but I just don't think they're getting them ready. At least the ones around here. Now the kid that works
Yeah.
with me, he's about your age, and he's from Kettering, but he moved out west to Salt Lake, and he worked in a Ford truck dealership. They did big trucks, and the smallest thing they did was like a 1-ton. But man, they taught him a lot. And I mean, they're training you only on the Ford stuff, but in general, it's the same thing. It's the same premise. So,
Right.
it's like, I would.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
once you get all the basics down, I mean, it all transfers.
Yeah.
For the most part, except, we got the newer stuff that's coming through that calls for like 5.5 hours for an alternator.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
These engineers trying to package things.
Yeah.
And of course, there's always a learning curve with any new vehicle, but if you utilize the tools that you have, like Identifix or
But
Mitchell, or
Yep.
they usually have manuals and
Yep.
will give you a diagnostic flow chart to walk through.
I found
You
something
know.
interesting the other day. If you have Napa Pro Link, do you buy anything from Napa?
Yeah, yeah, we have it.
They have a ESS in there. You got to dig for it. I could probably find the link, and there's a bunch of free stuff in there. You know,
Yeah.
they got that quick labor guide, which sometimes I don't trust it. I kind of go back into ProDemand and check it because I think it's a
Yeah, I always
I
check it
think it's
through
a motor.
ProDemand.
I think it's a motor manual, so you got to kind of watch it, you know. But yeah, but it's like you, they need to get in a rhythm. Um, you know, they need to get in a rhythm and do the same thing every time when they're checking something. And that's why I'm a firm believer in these inspection sheets. I know they're a pain in the ass, and some guys don't like it, you know. But it's like, hey, this reminds you what order to check everything in, you know, and you can document, you know, like you were talking about the other day with the guy with the brake pads that he said they were okay and they were grinding. You know, no, there's a specific spot on this sheet where you measure the millimeters of those brake pads and write it down. You know, and the
Yeah.
tread depth on the tires and fluid conditions and belt conditions, and it's like,
Yeah, a lot of shops have those, and we have them too, and they're
yep,
nice to give to the customer because then the customer
yep,
knows that you've checked it all.
yep.
That you and you can usually tell if somebody just pencil whips those sheets.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because
definitely. And it's like,
it's going to be the same thing on every one.
it's like,
But if somebody actually takes their time, especially in somewhere that's um, you know got techs checking things out for like book time guys,
yeah, yep, yeah. We
the
gotta
flat
have,
rate guys,
yeah, yeah. The flat rate guys need the oil change guys to make sure they're checking everything because the oil
right.
change guys don't need
Those
to be
guys
in a
are
hurry.
usually those guys are usually getting paid hourly, and
Yeah,
then you go to the techs that are flat rate, and every little bit helps. So if you pay good close attention, and that's another thing too, is that a lot of the higher up techs, the top tier techs should really take their time and you know cultivate a relationship with the other guys,
well, yeah, and
because that's
that's
in the end that can help them.
yeah, and that's part of the relationship is you got to earn trust from your older guys. So if you're going to go the extra mile, check these cars out real good for them because you're just getting paid by the hour, and then you're going to make them
Right.
guys some money. Well, those guys are going to start showing you how to do stuff and how to get it done fast. And then when you get put on a flat rate or a bonus program or whatever, performance program, you're going to be able to make some money. But a lot of guys, and you see it, we get them in there and they're all gung ho for a couple months, and then they think, oh, I should be making what this guy that's been doing this for 30 years is making. It's like, no, that's not how it
Yeah.
works. You gotta build a relationship. You gotta build a trust, and you gotta do all the dirty work to work your way up. And it's just,
Yeah.
I feel bad for the
And
guys that are
use Bobby.
What's that?
I use Bobby's analogy. He usually says, a lot of the new techs that we get in there are like a fireworks show in reverse.
Yeah,
They show up and it's just boom, 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 knocking everything out, and then it's like, okay, well, what happened? Because
yeah.
now nothing's going on.
The grand finale was at the start, not the end. Like, we gotta turn that
Yeah,
shit around.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh, believe me, I've seen it lots of times. I figured it out
yeah.
the other day. The shop. When I worked at the old shop, I was there for 22 years, and I added it up. And in those 22 years, I worked with 200 people plus, in and out.
Oh, I can imagine.
Isn't that crazy? And
Yeah,
when I left, most of the guys that were there, I had worked for years. But it was you know, when I first started, there was guys that started with me and they didn't make it. And then the next batch came in, and the next batch, and the one know-it-all guy that when I started working there, he didn't really know shit. He bullshitted his way through pretty much, and so once I got in there and started showing the boss, what a real, worker was like what kind of work I really could get done, and not just throw a bunch of parts at it and cost him money. And then he was like, man, this guy, and then that guy's feelings got hurt, and then he left or whatever. And we're just like, yeah, whatever. So like I said, don't go in there all cocky and think you know it all, because you don't. I don't even know it all. I still learn something every day to this day, and I'm glad I do. And I forget a lot of shit
Right.
too. It's like I got to go back to that
Oh
sheet
yeah.
some days. Like, did I check this? Did I check? Oh no, I didn't check the air filter. I better check that. Especially
Yeah, for sure.
in the garage I work in now. Those trucks I work on and those cars I work on, they run all day. Just because they've got, they might say they only got 4,000 miles on them, but they might have,
Yeah, they
10,000
probably
hours
have.
on them.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Just like police vehicles, they sit and idle.
Oh man, yeah, those
Oh,
things they get really really hot sitting there, and these big trucks
mhm.
do it too. They get hot and melt electrical wires and stuff that you would think would never melt, but the guys that built those trucks, they didn't plan on these things sitting there running for 10, 12 hours a day. Like this time of year,
Right.
we got loaders and track hose and stuff that are out where there's no electricity, so we can't plug them in. So those things are out there running right now. I mean, they are running non-stop.
Yeah.
They'll run all winter. We'll just keep putting fuel in them because we don't want them to freeze up and the diesel to gel up in them. So there's
Right.
there's a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different equipment that you're going to end up working on. But yeah, we just
Mhm.
got to get them ready, man. So, like I said, that's my mission for the year is just get some good information out there. Um, I want to go to some different shops and do some videos there. Probably come over to your guys' place if I'm allowed over there. And a buddy of mine's got a body
Yeah, for
shop
sure.
at his house, and I want to go over with him because I did some body work back in the day. That's what my dad does. And I mean, I
Yeah.
know it's the same deal. They need people too. And I know at my dad's shop.
Yeah. Eh,
Go ahead.
They deal with the same things as us,
Oh yeah.
it's all the limited knowledge on everything, and then nobody wants to take the time to help anybody. So
Yeah. Well, and
they
they
deal with the same stuff.
the body shop guys don't know how to fix anything. They just want to throw sheet metal on them,
Right.
and that's why my dad hasn't retired yet, because every time he goes to retire, they're like, man, we got to have somebody that can do rust repair and fabricating and stuff. And so he's actually got a guy that's in his 20s now. He says has really been paying attention to him. And he's like, I hope he gets it. He's like, because my dad's like, he's gonna be 72. He's like, I'm done with this shit. He's like, 3 or 4 o'clock, my hands don't work no more. I can't do it. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, he's
it's
definitely made it further than most body guys do. I mean,
oh yeah,
that's.
oh yeah, man.
I mean, being a mechanic is tough work. That's next level.
Mm-hmm. And man, back in the day, back when he started, before I was born, I couldn't imagine all the chemicals and stuff that he inhaled. That you know, they probably don't even have that half that shit in the paint anymore. Like most of the paint doesn't
Yeah,
even have
well,
solvent.
everything's
It's water
waterborne
based.
now.
Yeah, it's water based shit. Yeah. So yeah, it's the industry's definitely changed in the last. Like I said, I've been doing it professionally for 30 years. But man, it's still all work and it's hard work. But there's good money to be made
Yeah,
out there.
for sure.
Especially especially a technician can make a lot of money. And the shops can too if they do it the right way, and they're not ripping their customers off, and they're taking care of each other like they should be. And shops should take care of other shops also. Don't talk bad about no other shops. That's totally unprofessional. That's like
Oh yeah. Yeah, for
I
sure.
go into one of the big auto parts stores, which drives me nuts. I can't deal with it anymore. And every time I go in there, it's a last resort. And there's always some guy trying to tell me how to work on a car, and then talk bad about some other guy working on his car or his neighbor's car or whatever. And it's like, dude, it's like I've been doing this shit since before you were born. I'm just in here to buy some parts.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be cocky or anything, but it's like, no. I could teach you so much,
Yeah.
and you don't
That
even know it.
and, it's the misinformed information that they give all the customers. We have a couple of local parts shops that send people our way.
Yeah.
And we take care of them for it.
Right.
We'll give them a little discount here or there when they need something on their car. But a lot of the times the guys behind the counter are telling them a customer one thing, and then you get it, and you're like, oh no, well it's this, and the customer gets mad at you, like, no, the guy at O'Reilly said. I'm like, but look, listen, the guy at O'Reilly's doesn't get paid to work on your car.
Yeah,
he gets paid to sell you the crap.
He's not a technician. So, he's not trained to diagnose it. He's trained to sell you the part.
Yeah.
When somebody diagnoses it, and that's great. But yeah, I don't like those guys trying to diagnose stuff either. Somebody will bring parts in like, hey, can you install these? Like, yeah, but what are we fixing? Well, so and so, and it's like, okay, well, I'll put them on, but if that doesn't fix the problem, it's not my deal. It's their deal.
Right. Yeah. For instance, just the other day, we had a customer come in, said that I think it was AutoZone, scanned their car and it had a 420 code. Catalytic converter.
Yeah.
And sold him an oxygen sensor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Catalyst efficiency below threshold.
Yeah, we get it into the shop. We do a back pressure test and measure the temperatures between the front and the rear of the cat. And we tell him it needs a cat.
Right.
It's gotta be replaced. And he argues. He's like, no, it's the sensor. I'm like, sir, we just did our testing, and over time, these catalytic converters will get clogged up, and it'll cause your car to run like this.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, no, it's the O2 sensor. Please put it in. So you know what? Okay. Go ahead, put it in. Stay on his way. Well,
you're in the business. Yeah.
He was back the next day.
Yep.
And just kicking and complaining, and I'm like, I told you yesterday that it was this, and you insisted that it was just a sensor.
Yeah.
I mean, usually when we do a catalytic converter, we'll put an O2 sensor in there because a lot of the times, it can get wiped out. But
yep,
it's just things like that. The misinformation that the customer gets and is passed through us is just crazy.
Yeah, it's like they make us the middleman when actually they're supposed to be the middleman. It's like,
right,
yeah, you did your job, you sold some parts, but they weren't the right ones. Now the customer's pissed at me because you misdiagnosed it, and then they expect you to fix it, and it's like, nah, that's why I make damn sure I explain to them, like, understand, there's no warranty on this for one part, so I'm not going to eat it if something happens, and there's no warranty on the labor because you brought the part in and they diagnosed it, so.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and that's another thing too that's crazy is the amount of people that want to bring in their own parts and then expect you to warranty it.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, well, it's cheaper if I just buy it myself. Well, yeah, but I charge a markup, but that's to protect me when it if I've got to warranty it.
Exactly, that's
I
to
still
cover.
got to pay my guys' labor. I still have to pay for another part. It's there for a reason. It's no different than going and buying a new car and then putting the warranty, the extended factory warranty on.
Try and go
paying a little extra for it.
I got a good analogy for you. I got years ago, a dear friend of mine that passed away. He said, go to Kroger's, buy a pound of hamburger, and try and take it to McDonald's and see if they'll cook it for you the way they cook theirs.
Yeah.
That
that's
don't
what
work.
Bobby says. He says you can't take your own steak at this Roadhouse and make them cook it for you.
No.
So
it's like you can't. It don't work like that. But yeah, I'm all for like, hey, yeah, you want to bring your own brake parts in? Fine, I'll put them on. But they start squealing and making improvements. I installed it properly. That's your fault. You bought some cheapo, pads, and I can't cover it because I didn't buy them. So yeah, people don't get it. We're in business for a reason, and that's to make money. Same way they go to work. Same way they sell shit on eBay.
Right.
We're all in the business to make money, and it's like, but there's so much overhead, You start saying, well, I got to pay my guys. I got to pay the power and light bill. I got to pay the water bill. I got to pay a little bit of advertisement money. I got to pay for coffee in that pot over there that you're drinking 3 cups out of already. It's like,
Right.
They just
Yeah.
don't get
Yeah.
it. You know, there's so much involved. It's like, you know, shop supplies. You know, your, you know, your lubes and your sprays and you know, tape and I mean, you know, you got to be able to cover all that stuff.
Oh
They
yeah.
just they don't get it,
I
man.
probably pay 1,200 a month for that stuff.
Oh yeah, easy, easy.
You know.
Yeah, you should have 6-8% on each ticket just for shop supplies. You know, you could max it out at like $20 or $30, but you know, it's okay to
Ours
do
is
that.
15.
Yeah,
Anything over $100 is $15. But I, and even still, then I mean, it just barely squeaks
that's
by. I
not.
mean,
Yeah,
we don't make any money off of it.
no,
You know.
no. You're just paying for the product that you're
But
using.
right. You know, because there's sometimes that you got to go and degrease a car, and it'll take 3 or 4 cans of grease.
Oh
And
yeah,
that crap's
yep,
$5 a piece.
yep.
You
And you
know.
got to have the water
So
hose out there. There's another bill, water bill. You know.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah, for sure.
yeah, it's
So
hard. You know, owning a shop is a big deal. I mean, which you know that, you know.
yeah,
But
yeah.
that's why I never did it. I'm just like
It's a
no,
lot of juggling.
yeah, got too many damn hats to wear and too much money out there, too much liability. You know, I'm too old to
Right.
fucking
Yeah.
worry about it now anyway. So, man, we've been all.
We had a customer.
Oh, go ahead.
We had a customer come in 2 weeks ago, I believe it was. Said that he was at another local shop before that, and a different local shop um, for fuel lines
Mm-hmm.
on it was a HHR,
Yeah.
and you know those all rust out right there,
Uh-oh. I lost you.
right there. And it was the same situation. Well, we get it all repaired for him. It took us an extra day because right now getting parts for those things are just crazy with all the import laws and everything that's changed.
Yeah.
It took us a couple extra days to get the parts, but we got him all back together. He comes and picks it up, and you know he comes back in. He goes, "Hey, you guys back into something?" We're like, no, you know, when it got here, we pushed it directly in here, right off the truck, and then just backed it out, literally 4 feet in front of that bay door until you came and got it, you know. And he was throwing a big fit because there was a scratch on his back bumper. And come to find out, the other local shops had called, and we were talking to him. And come to find out, he tried to pull the same crap on them.
Nice.
He was just looking for somebody to pay for that scratch.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
We've had that.
you know, that's crazy.
I've
So
had that over the years too. Yeah. But then I have had guys.
Bobby's got a good buddy that does body work,
Yeah.
and we were going to have him, you know, fix the scratch. And the guy's like, no, I want my car painted. We're like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Even if you take it to a body shop, they'll just fix the bumper. He's like, no, you're going to paint the whole car. We're like, no, it's not happening.
Yeah.
So he ended up leaving with nothing.
Yeah.
And then I get a call, I think it was last Wednesday, from the guy's insurance, trying to get my insurance information for his vehicle. I'm like, no.
Wow. Yeah, he wasn't giving up, was he?
We have pictures of the entire car. Yeah. You know.
It's
'Cause
sad.
that kind of comes back to those sheets, though. We have those sheets, and on there, you know, you do it, walk around.
Yep,
the vehicle
walk around
and
it,
put little
yep.
tick marks where there's
Yep.
scratches.
Yep.
And you know what? There was a tick mark on that sheet right there where they said it was. So
Yep.
it,
I know.
it's just another thing that you gotta
That's another thing you got to deal
slay the
with.
system for. You know.
Yep. Because they can take advantage of it. You know, somebody they know or they have in the past had the same deal. You know. Yeah, I've had that
Oh yeah.
many times. I don't know how many interiors I've had to clean though, where guys get in there with dirty boots and mess it up. Though I get so mad when they do that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like all you gotta do is put a piece of cardboard in there or something. Oh, and then one guy, he'd get in there and he would flip the floor mat upside down. I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. So yeah, like
Yeah.
a couple weeks later,
So then when you flip it back over to the carpet,
oh yeah, this lady called. She was cleaning her car out and she flipped that carpet up and there was boot prints. You know, just if he wouldn't have had the rug in there because it transferred right off the back of the rug. I'm like, man, stop
Yeah.
doing that. You know, we've got mats. You know, all you gotta do is put something in there, shop towel. I mean, anything. It's like, but you know, well, there you go. I gotta go take this car and get it detailed, and and it's going to have to be 115% because he freaking put a boot print in it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a rough industry, but like I said, it's always been good to me, that's for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
It's definitely rewarding also.
yeah.
It's just, you gotta deal with the little things to get to the
Oh yeah.
reward. So.
Oh yeah. It's just like anything, you're dealing with the public, and that's a rough deal there anyway. So, and it's hard on your body too. You got to be careful doing it. Um, these
Yeah.
guys need to be wearing
I
gloves.
can only imagine, somebody like yourself, 6 foot tall.
Oh yeah,
It's hard to get underneath those dashes.
yeah. I can't.
Sure, it's hard for me to get underneath the dash.
Yeah, yeah. Most of well, I can't do hardly any of it anymore. But yeah, we need a little. The little women are perfect for doing that. Just crawling in there like doing evaporator cores and stuff. There was this chick over at the Chrysler dealership up here was doing the Intrepids and all those older ones, and the Caravans and Jeeps. They pay like 12, 14 hours. She did it in like 4 hours. She just crawl underneath the dash, prop it up, boom, boom, pull it out, boom, boom, boom. It was crazy, and that's all she did, man. It was perfect,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like
Right.
we need to make them put hearing protection on. My hearing's shot. Eye protection. I've had shit drilled out of my eyes. Protect your
Yeah,
hands.
that's something I'm bad about. Going and grabbing a air hammer and hammering at something, then
Yeah. Then your
5 minutes later you can't hear nothing.
Yeah. Then your ears are ringing for 3 hours after you get done with it. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
But like I said, we'll get through it. This time of year is pretty rough on stuff. I mean, we're gonna have I guarantee you Monday we're gonna have a bunch of dead batteries and a bunch of stuff broke.
Oh yeah.
A bunch of diesels that won't start because they won't plug the damn things in out in the parking lot. I drove around.
Yeah.
I drove around Thursday because we shut down at noon. I drove around about 11 o'clock. Plugged in probably 3 trucks. There's probably 10 of them out there, but there was still some out, and I guarantee you that, yeah. Luckily, a lot of them get parked inside that they
Yeah,
use.
that's something I don't deal with a lot of.
Yeah, big trucks. Yeah, they don't like it when it's cold. They got 13 gallons of 15W40 in them, and they don't like to crank very fast, even when they got 3 or 4 batteries on them. But when the block heater's on, they'll fire right up.
We have a '08 F250 with a 6.4 diesel in it,
Mm-hmm.
and we had to do an injection pump. Well, to do the injection pump, you got to lift the cab off of it because there's just no other way to get to it.
Yep.
So I probably fought 3 or 4 days to get those rusted bolts out. I had to cut holes and
Yep.
weld the nuts in place so the bolts would come out.
Yeah, I've seen guys
Then
have
we
to
get it all
do that.
apart. Yeah, it's crazy. So then we get it all apart and come to find out that the cam was wiped out in it.
Oh, wasn't running the pump.
One of the lifters was stuck and just
Yeah.
it just grooved
Yeah.
probably a a good half inch into that camshaft. So
Yeah.
we had to get a new cam for it, but that's been an ordeal. It's something that we're still working on. I mean, hell, it's been there a little over a month.
Yeah.
We're waiting on parts and everything, and
Those
can't
in.
get it off the lift because it's tying up,
Yeah.
tying up time because we're waiting on parts. I'm glad we don't do a lot of those, but they're
Yeah.
definitely good paying jobs. So if you know what you're doing with them, that's a good place to be. But
Oh yeah, the diesel guys make
for
good
us,
money.
it only do
Yeah.
yeah, we probably only do maybe 5 a year, and
Mm-hmm.
we're not super
Yeah. Luckily, all of our
super knowledgeable on them.
right. Luckily, all of our little trucks are gas. We've got a couple Power Strokes. Actually, one of the new ones is a Power Stroke, but I mean, we usually don't even work on that stuff. If it needs something done, we'll take it. If it's a big truck, we'll take. Our main job is just to maintain them and keep them from not breaking, and then fix all the undercarriage stuff that gets tore up and putting brakes on them and stuff.
Yeah.
So But
And
yeah,
we called to order parts for that Ford, and I called a company that specializes in 6.0s and 6.4s, right?
yeah.
And their little answering service there at the beginning, it says, "Welcome to," I can't remember the company name, but it says home of the 6 liter and 6.4 performance builds. And at the end of it, he goes, "If you owe an '08 to 2010 6.4 liter Power Stroke, we no longer work on those. It's time to trade them in." I was like, "What?"
They're like, yeah,
I'm like, "Well,
we're not messing with those anymore. Wow.
yeah,
Well, I
it's
mean,
crazy because they're international engines,
yeah.
um, but it doesn't have, like most engines have like the brass valve guides.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have those.
Right.
It's just the valve slides through the head
Yeah, it's
and
just a knurled guide.
cause a whole lot of issues.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why Ford
yeah, it's
designed their
nuts.
own engine. You know, when they went to the 6.7, um, that's why they did it, because they just got tired of warrantying the international stuff. And in the big truck world, and I'm probably gonna piss some people off, but the internationals suck. I mean, they are just
Yeah,
chintzy. I, I mean, we got a brand new dump truck, and I bet it doesn't have 350 miles on it. The the hood almost fell off of it already. Um, it's had 2 or 3 coolant leaks. Uh, yeah, where the hinges bolt into the hood, it's a big old fiberglass hood. Of course, it's heavy as shit because it's huge.
yeah,
Yeah, where the bolts bolt into the hood, there's supposed to be a metal piece on the back of it with the nuts on it. They just threaded it right into the
yeah.
fiberglass. So the guys go do their
Well, that's crazy.
pre-trip, and the hood about fell on him. I mean, luckily they got safety cables on him and stuff. But yeah, I had to cut that thing and make brackets to slide up in there. Oh, it was ridiculous. I couldn't believe it. And then, yeah, just every time I turn around, that International is broke. Now, we got Freightliners, they're it's like, we've got Freightliners, Internationals, and we've got some old, man, I can't even think what they're called. But, yeah, they're just, Internationals. A lot of guys call them Intertractionals because they're just, I don't know what they do, man, but it's getting a big hurry putting them together or something. But I mean, there's guys out there that swear by them and they can work on them. It's like, maybe I need to call them guys and get some tricks from them dudes. Maybe there's some kind of pre-trip we need to do before we put them on the road. But
Right.
then our operators just tear the shit out of them because they're not their car. They just destroy these things. They'll run into poles in the parking lot, back a dump truck into another dump truck, and they just don't give a shit. So,
Yeah, I had a guy the other day said that he was going to buy a fleet car. And he's like, I'm excited because you know that they take immaculate care of them. I just laughed. I said,
no.
yeah, they service them often, but gosh,
Yeah,
they get beat up.
they do. They get beat up. Like I said, they sit there and idle constantly. And it's like one thing I've ran into is the guys that work in the shop. They're all picky about the big trucks and the machinery. About you only gotta use Bobcat oil in a Bobcat. You only use John Deere oil in a John Deere. But I'll see them put 5W30 oil in a 5W20. We got some new GM trucks that take 0W20. They put 5W30 in those, and two of them were smoking. We took them to the dealer, and these dumbasses will
Yeah,
write on the cow panel what they put in them. Like, oh, use only Dixos 5W30, and the guy's like, that's not what goes in this truck. And they never
yeah,
change
especially.
transmission fluid. They never change brake fluid. They never change power steering fluid. I'm like, and they're just watching me do it. The other day, I was servicing one that had about 40,000 miles on it. And they're like, "And these transmission fluid already?" I'm like, actually, it's past due. It's supposed to be at 30. These transmissions are sitting
Right,
there running just as long as the engines are, and they get hotter than the engine because they don't have a big heat exchanger for them. It's
right.
like if you guys would pay more attention to this shit, we wouldn't have any. These cars wouldn't be breaking down. So, but now they'll just run
Right.
until the transmission blows
Especially
up.
those GMs, the GMs with the DOD, the displacement on demand. You put the wrong oil in them,
Yeah, you're just asking for it. Yep. I'm glad my truck
not
doesn't
like
have
that. It'll
that.
drop a lip in a heartbeat.
Yep.
Yeah, and we Spencer, man, Spencer, one of the head technicians we have, he has gotten good at doing those DOD deletes. I
Yeah.
mean, the man's amazing. He'll have both heads off and the cam out in about 45 minutes.
That's
I
like
mean,
my brother.
he's
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah, my brother can rip them down quick. I guess they make some kind of push rod kit or something now. You don't even take the lifters out of it. It's like a longer push rod or something. I don't know how. It's probably some chintzy shit I heard about, but
Yeah, I've seen that. They're adjustable is what they are, but
oh, okay.
I I don't know if I trust them. You know, we did one, and I mean the guy's still driving it, but it makes a weird noise. It almost sounds like a lifter tick, but
Yeah.
you know all the lifters are tight. Everything's you
Well,
know the way that it should be.
I think
It's
what it is
weird.
is
So
you're
I
push.
would just
Yeah. I think you're turning it from a hydraulic lifter into a solid lifter, so you're going to get noise out of it.
right.
Because that's what they were saying. Well, it's
Yeah,
longer, so it pushes the plunger down. I'm like, well, you're kind of defeating the purpose of the hydraulic lifter when you're doing that. So yeah, I just don't
right.
see that lasting forever. You know,
Yeah, I'd rather just switch them over.
if it's
Because you've seen a DoD lifter, right? With the spring on the top.
yeah, oh yeah, I've seen.
Yeah, when they collapse.
Yep.
So you know, you swap it over to a solid lifter, you know, and do the different. You replace the ball with just a normal valley cover,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
it's a whole lot nicer.
Yeah, when
I
you
mean, you don't
eliminate.
get the gas mileage because you know
Yeah, that's what I
when you're on
told
the
my.
highway, that's what that's for. Is to shut
Yep.
it down to 4 cylinders, but
Yep. My dad's got
I
a.
don't see it worth it when you're coming around having to pay for it all the time.
Yeah, it's $2,500 to put lifters in the fucking things. Yeah, my
Oh yeah,
dad's got one in
easy.
his truck, and I'm like, you start having problems with that. I was like, I guarantee you, it won't have it when we get done with it. We'll definitely be eliminating that
Yeah,
thing.
and that's probably one of the best things that we invested in was that HP tuner
Uh,
because even without going in there and doing that, if the lifters are still good, we can
yeah.
just shut DoD off,
Oh,
and
okay.
you know
Yeah, and just
you ain't got to worry
disable it.
about it.
Yeah, that's what I would
Yeah,
do if I had one. I'd just shut that crap off. Especially towing. I mean,
yeah,
it's not going to help me any gas mileage, towing wise. So,
right,
but
right.
all right. Well,
And then you know
go ahead. You
oh,
there?
I was saying the newer Dodges have it now too, and you know in my uncle's truck,
Yeah, the Hemis have had it for a while
that thing,
too. Yeah.
yeah, he didn't even have 10,000 miles on it and lost a lifter.
Yeah, we had it was a Durango. It didn't have hardly any miles on it, like 2,000 miles, and it was already failed. This lady was crying,
Yeah,
man. She couldn't believe it. She was like, I saved up all my money and paid cash for this truck. I'm like, oh, Jesus. I was like, I hope you bought the warranty. But luckily,
right.
luckily she had the factory warranty on it still. I called over Dave Dennis, and he was like, yeah, get it over here. We'll get it straightened out. He's like, we got 10 of them out here, I think, already. I'm like, yeesh. So, but he said she was
Yeah,
a good customer of theirs anyway. He knew who it was, so he was. But yeah, it sucks. But they have to do it, because they have to have an average fuel mileage across the board, per the EPA and stuff.
yeah,
So they got to come up with a way to meet
yeah,
that requirement, and it never gets any
yeah.
easier on them. So
Yeah, and just like the hybrid vehicles now, we've been trying to take a lot of the parts houses will put on classes for the hybrid vehicles,
yeah.
and we've been trying to take those because
Hmm.
that's the next step is I'm not saying we're all going to be working on Teslas, but a lot of the hybrid vehicles, especially the early models like the Priuses and stuff like that, are
Yep.
starting to fail now.
Yep. They are. And
So
I've had I've checked two of them that's needed batteries, and the people never buy them because they're too damn expensive. So
yeah,
yeah, there's going to be
yeah,
some
and not
hybrid cars for sale for cheap here soon.
oh yeah, and not to mention the people that have the knowledge and the tools because you have to have specialty gloves and all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff
Hmm.
to discharge those lines and
Yep. I
um, or kill you. Not a normal technician can't go in there and just pull one of those batteries out.
yeah,
I mean,
that's
that would
440
kill you.
volts, and it's a lot of amps. So yeah, you got to be real careful. Usually when you go to those classes, I mean, I know I got they gave away a set of gloves. I was the guy that won them once, And then the voltometer you have to use for that's like a certain category. I won one of those once, but like I said, I've only used them twice.
Yeah.
You know. Now I did have to disconnect one. I can't remember why. I had to shut the hybrid battery down to do some repair work for something. I don't remember. Oh, I was doing an AC compressor on one because they run off the hybrid battery. They're a high voltage electric compressor. They don't run off a belt. You know.
Like the Cruiser.
It was a Prius.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So yeah, the Prius and the Camry are electric compressors. Yeah, the Cruise. Yeah, like I said, and then you gotta disconnect this because you're gonna be unplugging that thing. So you gotta be careful. And there's special refrigerant oil for it too. It's non-conductive refrigerant oil you have to use in those AC systems on those hybrids also. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to them. But yeah, if you any of those classes you can go to them for sure. Because a lot of times they're redundant, but every now and then you'll get a different guy teaching it, and he'll
you always learn something new from
yeah, always. And they've always got cool stuff to give away too, because they're trying to sell stuff. They're wanting you to buy their, Dorman usually is the good one because they put on, they want you to buy their reconditioned batteries,
Right.
But yeah, it's hybrids are definitely coming around. It's been a slow go, but they are, and there's some hybrid trucks out there too. There's GM had one that the motor was on the transmission. Matter of fact, a friend of ours, we were over there last night having dinner. Their son-in-law, that the hybrid battery in an Escalade's bad. They said it's like $1,000. It's not a big system. It's not a, it's just more of a. It's there's the direct system and the indirect system. Like the Toyota, you can drive on the motor for till about 25 miles an hour. Most of all the other ones is just an assist. Both engines are running at the same time. The motor and the engine are running at the same time. So yeah, I'm gonna go over some. I'm gonna do some of that stuff too.
We had a lube guy getting a Prius and to pull it in. He was out there for like hell, I don't know, probably a good 30-40 minutes. I finally go out there and I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "How do I reset the light on this thing?" He's got phone up on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta have it on the little screen where the electricity's flowing through it and blah blah, and hold this button and put your foot out the window. It's crazy.
Song and dance anymore.
Yeah. My my Autel scanner. My Autel scanner, I could go in there and just turn it off without having to do all that stuff. So, but man, some of them like Volvos and stuff are ridiculous.
Oh.
It's like I just want to unhook the battery, but that probably wouldn't even do it, Have you seen these?
What's that?
Have you seen like the newer Impalas and stuff that have the little tiny battery in the trunk? It's like a backup battery. Actually, it's freaking weird.
You know what that's for? Is the stop start feature.
Yeah, that's what I assumed it was for. Was the little backup? Yeah.
Yeah, we had a Malibu come in. The girl had bought it from a dealership, used, but it only had like 15,000 miles on it.
Right.
And every time we come to a stoplight, it would shut off, but then it wouldn't restart. She'd have to like sit there for 10 minutes with the key off before it would restart.
Yeah. So
we tried to diagnose it, man. I mean, we had it for a week, and we were just furiously working on this thing. And, we ended up to the point where we called the dealership and asked them, like, hey, what could it be? And he's like, oh, there's an issue with the starter, this, that, and the other. So we get a new starter, put it on there. And it worked fine for probably about 2 weeks. And then she calls back, doing it again. So we're like, okay, well, you know what? Take it to the dealership. They're more inclined to handle this. She's like, okay. So she takes it to the dealership, and she had a warranty on it, but she still ended up paying like $3,500 for them to put a new engine in the car.
What? Holy shit!
They put an entire engine in the car, and then she had it. And she got it back about a month, and then it was doing it again. So she's like, "Look, I'm gonna bring this thing to you guys. Just fix it. Like, I can't afford to buy another car right now. I just need it fixed. Whatever it costs, just do it." So doing some research and finally I'm like, you know what? Let's replace that battery.
Yeah, it's like a
So
little
on
AGM
there,
battery in it. Yeah.
yeah, on the battery though, there's a circuit board on the power terminal.
Okay.
And I open that up, and one of the damn connectors on the circuit board was fried.
I ran into that on a new truck, on a new GM truck. Had that big
Yeah.
panel on top and the little metal strips. Just like
Yep.
it was microscopic. You couldn't even see it, but there was no current flowing through it, and it wouldn't
Yeah.
start.
Yeah. Yeah. You could see when I opened that thing up, you could see that there's a little burn spot on it.
Yeah.
So, you got to replace the entire cable, which
Yeah.
was a pain in the ass.
Oh
Because
yeah.
it runs all the way up to the front
Oh, I know. Yep.
and then to the starter and everything else.
Hmm.
But we replaced that cable. She's had no issues with it since. I mean,
Nice.
it's just crazy.
So you didn't even replace that little
engineering
battery,
now
just the
is
cable?
not-
Yeah.
Yeah, just the cable. The
Yeah, I've-
battery, because we were testing that battery
Mhm.
over and over and over again. And it was testing fine.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing is,
So
I had them push it in with another truck, and I figured, oh, it's going to need a battery. It was like the first cold snap here recently. I was like, oh, it's going to need a battery. It's a couple years old. I put the battery tester on. I'm like, this battery's better than the new one I'm going to put in it. So I pull that cover off because I'm like, I'm not getting any power out of this little box thing right here. And I pull the cover off, and I'm like, well, shit. And yeah, I had to buy that whole, like you said, a whole positive cable assembly, and
yeah.
so anyway, yeah, I mean, but that's stuff we learn, as we go. You just gotta take your time and do your due diligence, what you can, look online,
Yeah.
hopefully some guy, there's some good guys on YouTube that share some really good information too, if you can find it. Sometimes it's kind of vague how they put the, caption on there or whatever, but
Right.
so.
Yeah, they ended up writing a case file and doing a
I don't doubt it. Yeah, I don't doubt it.
because Bobby back in the day, he used to work at GM as a technician there, and
Okay.
he was actually part of the white coat team for the Corvettes,
Mm-hmm.
like the C5 and C6 Corvettes. So
Yeah.
he still knew some guys kind of higher up in GM. But yeah, they came out and pretty much diagnosed that, or went through the whole diagnosis with us on how we found it.
Yeah, I've had those guys come out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they ended up writing that up.
Yep. I've had Jasper do that with me. I've had Ford do that with me. Well, my buddy Brian that has the body shop, I'm pretty sure he used to be on the Corvette team for the body work part of it too, years ago. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, yeah, it's fun stuff. See, you learn something every day. Just got to pay attention.
Right.
The young guy picked that shit up quick. It's like, hey, get over here and watch what we're doing. Pay attention. Get your notepad out.
That's another big thing too. These newer guys need to learn the patience to do that stuff. We've had guys that'll spend a few hours on it, like, you know what, call the customer, take it to the dealer.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, you just gotta take your time.
In some cases like that one, the dealer doesn't even know. So,
Yeah. Well, and I bet you 9 times out of 10 that every time I've ever done that, the dealer doesn't fix it. Because all it is a bunch of young guys, because they've changed their pay structure. All the old guys are like, screw it, we're out. And
Right.
But yeah, like I said, I hate it. I send it over there, and they're like, well, we can't get it to act up, or there's nothing wrong with it, or I don't know. I'm like, or did you check this? I'm like, yeah, like we've got a V10 Ford that they've had it like 3 or 4 times. It's got misfires in it. They'll throw coils at it. They ended up putting a head on it, and a new cam in that side. Got it back. The guys go drive it. It's missing. So finally, I was like, I'm just going to start all over with this thing. So, I checked all the coils, checked all the injectors, checked for vacuum leaks. I found a couple vacuum leaks. So I was like, well, maybe it's running lean. Fix those. It ran good for like a month. Started acting up again. So then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go back to the old school. I did a compression test on it. Well, that cylinder's got low compression in it. And that's the cylinder that the valve dropped on it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. So we sent it over to Ford. They couldn't get it to act up. Charged us to check it. And I'm like, it's got low compression. Well, we didn't check that. I'm like, that's why I'm telling you. You know. So nevertheless, they're putting an engine in it now. So.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have any miles on it.
It's crazy, man.
But I think if they ever found out that we were putting the wrong oil in it, we'd be up Schitt's Creek. You know.
Yeah.
So I don't put the wrong oil in them. I made my parts guy buy the correct, you know, what I need. When he's like, hey, whatever you want. I don't want. I'm tired of these guys tearing shit up. And I was like, well, it's not their guys. It's the freaking maintenance workers aren't doing the work like they should be. Whatever that fucking oil cap says is what goes in that motor. That's what it was engineered to run on. You know.
Yeah, it's not like the old days. You know, you run 1040 in the summer and 520 in the winter.
Because
you know,
the tolerances were loose as shit. Yeah. The new tolerances are way too tight. They're way too close now, you know.
Yeah.
Everything is way too finicky. Like I said, especially with these, you know, these multiple, you know, the variable displacement stuff. It's like, you can't do that, man. Got to run what this thing has in it. So. All right, dude.
God forbid one
yeah.
Jump timing.
Yeah, exactly, and just burn it up. So. All right, well, we've been on here for like an hour and 8 minutes, but I appreciate you. We'll do it again. All right. All right.
All righty, pops. I'll talk to you later.
See you, man. Thanks. That was my son-in-law. He's getting ready to buy. He's been working at a garage for a while, and he's actually buying it. So we were kind of throwing stuff back and forth to each other. I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you got something out of it. You know, if you want to see some more of my stuff, just like it and subscribe it and share it. Tell all your buddies. And if you got any questions or you know, anything you want me to do or anything you want me to explain, just shoot them to me, man. All right, I'll see you guys. Have a good weekend. Happy New Year if I don't see you. 2020. We're done with that. Stop. Uh-oh.